Hello and welcome back to the Tea Break Club podcast. This is episode 2, and today I'm going to tell you all about my song Mondays. Now, I'm going to try and do that in a couple of different ways. First of all, I've got the mix in front of me. I've got the track, the actual breakdown of the track, but hopefully I can tell you a little bit of a story about how it came to be. And the song started its life in summer of 2020, and all I had was the line, Mondays are for pretty girls and driving in my car. And that's all I had. And I knew that I wanted to have that line somewhere in a song. That's it. That's literally all I had. And over the last 2 years, I didn't really touch it for a while. It was really summer of 2022 that I started writing this song. In fact, in the last episode when I was talking to my dad and I was saying I'm already working on something different, and it's quite different, I was talking about this song. And it might seem like a massive departure from that album, actually, because obviously that was all acoustic guitar, piano, just me, and this is obviously a full band. Alex Byard-Cooke was involved in the production. He helped me make this, and he played the drums on it as well. And yeah, it's very upbeat. It's very different, basically, to everything that I'd put out only a couple of months ago. But I really wanted to finish this song in the summer, and I really wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it over the line because this is the music that I love listening to. This is the kind of stuff that I'm really loving putting on in the car at the moment. And that was kind of the influence for Mondays. It was a song that I wanted to play in the car. And I can think of a couple of songs off the top of my head, like A Dip in the Ocean by Fountains of Wayne, September Girls by Big Star, And Your Bird Can Sing by the Beatles. And these are the songs that I would play in the car in the summer. And they're like feel-good driving songs, really high-energy things that you think, you know what, I'm going to put my windows down. I open my sunroof in my car. It's an older car. And, I'll make the most of it. And that's what I wanted to do with Mondays. But I also kind of want to tell a story at the same time with that. And we'll come back to that. But I wanted to write that song, and I wanted to write this song with that mentality that it was going to be something that you could play in that context. And I started working on it in summer of 2022, and I started fleshing out those lyrics, trying to tell a broader story about the breakdown of a relationship, essentially. But not only a breakdown of a relationship, but a sense of regret, a sense of maybe over even a lifetime that this relationship hasn't worked out. And it's like, oh, maybe if we'd done this, maybe we could have made it work. And it's the subject matter of quite a few of my favourite songs, like Didn't We, the one that Frank Sinatra sings, This Time We Almost Made It, that beautiful lyric. And even though there is quite a sad undertone to the lyrics of this song, I wanted it to have that kind of optimism in the music. Nice bit of contrast there. But yeah, I did actually spend a lot of time learning to play this on the acoustic guitar. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but I actually spent a lot of time playing the song through and learning it and finding the right key. And I knew that I wanted to get back to some of the elements of music that I was doing when I was 16. And I was in a band when I was young called Local Heroes. In fact, we were the band who originally played Unpredictable Unbelievable. We mentioned that in the last episode as well. And we were playing, basically it was me, my cousin Jack, my friend John, and my friend Joe. And we were playing songs that I was writing, and we were working on these songs and going around Yorkshire and playing them. And we had a fantastic time doing it. And it was all very high energy stuff. There wasn't a tremendous amount of contrast in our set. I think we had a couple of acoustic numbers, but I don't think I had a plug-in acoustic guitar at that time. So I think it was a sort of thing where even the slow songs were songs with clean guitar in it with a bit of breakup. And obviously because we were trying to make, the classic sort of thing of turning your amp up even more to be heard over the other person, we were definitely experiencing a bit of like breakup on those amplifiers. There was definitely a bit of crunch in there. And all those songs like that, they were always like the things that sort of naturally came out of me at the time, and because of the music I was listening to. And I come back to all kinds of genres of music, and I've written in lots of different genres, and I've written jazz music, I've written musical theatre, and I love them all for different reasons. But this is the genre of music that I think I listen to the most. It's the thing that I identify with the most, and I wanted to kind of revisit some of that stuff from when I was a teenager, but also embrace some of the influences of bands like Big Star, Fountains of Wayne, Teenage Fanclub, etc., and bring that into this song. And I mean, we can jump into the track. Let's just do that straight away. Because the first thing immediately about this song, that if I play this back to you, this is the rhythm guitar part on its own. So I'm hoping now that when I play this, it works. Now you might be thinking, okay, there's a few things in there. I can hear a bit of Sam Fender in there specifically. I think there's a bit of 17 Going Under. There's a bit of Hypersonic Missiles, but essentially that sound to me is the sound of September Girls, Big Star. It is a Strat. It is that Strat that's behind me actually. On the pickup the pickup selector that is one away from the bridge, the ducky sound as some people call it, pushed through a Vox amplifier with a ton of compression on it. The parts that I play, I think it's like capo 6. Yeah, capo 6, because we're in D flat major, for those of you who want to know. And just playing the kind of Wonderwall style chords, where you're keeping your top 2 fingers on the strings. And playing that kind of part on that pickup selector with the amp and stuff really does give you the Big Star sound. Now, that part mixed with the other guitar part, which I think is slightly more overdriven, and this was actually more or less like the guitar part that I brought in for this was more like a complementary part. And I was thinking about it like I was with the Local Hero stuff, because Jack used to play stuff that worked around what I was doing, and we never played the same thing. We always made sure there were 2 parts that kind of intertwined, even though the sounds could be quite similar, because we were both playing Les Paul style guitars through Marshall Line 6 amps, things like that. So we're getting quite similar sounds. There wasn't a tremendous amount of distinction there. But the lead guitar part, as it kicks in fact, I'll play you both together. So if we go here, hopefully it's going to do it. Leads into a slightly more melodic part in the chorus here. And it's going to stop. Fantastic. That's great. Thank you for that, Logic. Let's try that again. Yeah, and as you can hear there is a lot of kind of, it's like a radio-y type, gritty lead guitar tone. That's played on an Epiphone Casino, my favourite guitar. I absolutely love it. And I obviously bought it because of the rooftop concert and the fact that all 3 Beatles guitarists had one. But I've got the coupe version of it, and there isn't really a genre of music you can't play on it. It's a wonderful guitar. But that part there, this. Is easily like one of my favourite guitar parts of recent years, and it just sort of naturally fitted around everything else. I guess the next thing to really talk about is how that fits in with the bass, because the bass is really busy in this song, and I wanted it to be busy. And again, this is such a Jonna influence on me, because some of the bass lines that he was writing when we were 16 were absolutely insane. Your further reading on this, if you like, it's songs like Are You Not Entertained by Local Heroes. That, the bass part in that, I remember actually saying to Jonna, can I play the same thing as you on the rhythm guitar? And he literally just said no, which was kind of him. That was just where we were at that point. I thought quite funny, actually. But the part that he played on the bass on that song was absolutely insane. But it served the song. And that essentially is what I've tried to do with this. And a little thing about how we recorded this bass. We saw a guide at ABC and I a few years ago about recording, in fact it's with this microphone here that I'm using for the vocals, using a U47 to record the vocals, sorry, to record the bass amp, because this is a U47 clone, it's a warm audio one, and I absolutely love this microphone. I use it for a lot of my vocal stuff, but allegedly it's really good for low end, it's really good for bass drums, really good for bass amps, and one of the things that they say to do, sort of in a classic sense, is to put it about 18 inches away from a bass cab, and apparently you get like a really natural bass sound from it. And we thought, you know what, we can DI it, that's a safe option. DI is such a safe thing to do, isn't it? And we thought, well, let's run it through this Ampeg amp that he's got at the studio and put it about 18 inches away. But if you listen to this bass part, played on a Hofner with some flat wound strings on it as well. Shout out to Paul McCartney for that one, another obvious influence. That's two guitars on this track that are Beatles influenced, and believe me, that is going to happen for a while. That's going to happen with everything I do. So yeah, if I take you to the chorus on this, really quite a busy bass part going on there, and if we put that in with the rhythm guitar, because the rhythm guitar, even though it's stylistic and it's copying that, copying, that's an interesting word to use, Geoff, even though it's heavily influenced by the Big Star sound, it's simpler, which allows that space for the bass. Bring the lead guitar into there as well. There you go. That's kind of that's how the guitar elements of this song break down. Those are the sounds of it. Let's talk a little bit about the vocals in this, and we'll talk about the drums in a second as well. But the vocals in this song, when I got to the chorus, I knew I needed a second line for Mondays are for pretty girls and driving in my car, and obviously the natural progression with that is to go on to the next day of the week, i.e. Tuesdays are for, and you know, Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are was the next line that came to me. And that's kind of where I got stuck, because I thought, am I going to do the Craig David thing? Am I going to go Wednesdays are for this, Thursdays are for that? And I settled on, you know, and the rest of the week is a blur, as I try to forget the lady that I'm just not over yet. And that's kind of where the story of the song came from. And that's where I developed this sort of heartbreak narrative as we go through. And, you know, the first verse is very much, you know, it's, what is it? When you left.
When you left, so the story goes. They say no one knows why you made that call. Until then, it was you and me. What a pair we'd be, I could see it all.
So I wanted to create this this sense that, you know, set the scene that this person's like left, and, you know, under for whatever reason, you know, they've gone. They could have moved to a different country. They could have got a different job. Quite extreme examples there, I know, but I pictured this sort of, you know, perfect relationship, and all of a sudden one person goes and has to go and do something, and then, you know, the link between that and the chorus is this, you know, I try so hard with others, this.
And I try so hard with others, when I'm with them I see you. When I think I'm onto something good, it lasts a day or two.
So, you know, you got this person going, you know, I am trying to find new people, and I'm trying to fill that void, and that's what, you know, the pretty girls and driving in my car thing is all about. And I try to put some meaning behind that, being like, you know, Mondays are all about this, and I'm trying to get out and live my life and, you know, spend time with other people, but it's not the same without you. You know, it's like, you know, when I'm with them I see you, and there's a few things in there, and that's kind of what links it in. And the second verse goes into that, into more of that. We've got,
even now, in this perfect place, you're another face that I can't forget.
It's the person reflecting and sort of saying, hey, you know, things are fine with me, but as I look around, this is, you know, there's a lot going on here, and I do miss you. And, you know, you don't even know if the intended subject of this song is even getting to hear what this person is thinking. That's the wonderful thing about songs. Sometimes they are these kind of secret expressions of a character's emotions, and you don't actually know whether this is even being heard by the person who needs to, or they want to hear it. But you know, at the same time, this next line, the here, where is it?
Trust me, babe, how I look around, and I've still not found no one like you yet.
And you know, there is that element, isn't there, of you know, like, trust me, babe. You know, it's like it's actually being directly addressed. Then we've got this this next bit as we go in.
Forgive me, 'cause I know it's wrong, but I still look you up. I think about your little life and pray that we make up, but till then, Mondays are full.
So, you know, I'm looking you up. I know what your life is like, and you know, he said, you know, forgive me. I know it's wrong, you know, but I'm still doing these things. And there is this kind of longer narrative to this. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell this story that it's over a long period of time. These two characters interacting with each other, or one character addressing another. And that in itself led itself into the next section after the chorus, which is probably one of the more natural middle eights that I've written, which is the reiteration of not over yet, you know, just the end line of the chorus. But I wanted that to be like, it's literally saying this is not over yet, you know, we can still give this a go, you know.
Not over yet. Not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
And you know, not only can I sort of picture that being sung by a lot of people, which it is in the recording. This, in fact, if I play back, this is the vocal that I recorded, the gang vocal. It's just me singing it over and over again, lots of silly voices.
Not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Not over yet.
So that is literally just me singing it over and over again there. And yeah, that I wanted that element of, you know, no, it's not over yet. And you know, you could even say it's people rallying behind this person saying, no, we know this relationship was great. You know, this should work. And this final verse to me is where, this is where I wanted all the emotion to be.
When we're old and our kids have grown, when you're all alone, will you think of me? If I go, would you feel the same? Would you keep the flame that is meant to be.
So, you know, well, I think there's a lot there, isn't there? To me, I wanted that element of, you know, look, if I'm not here anymore, are you still gonna feel this way? You're still gonna love me. That's what I wanted the character to sort of express in that sense. This is really like an everlasting love that we're talking about, and that kind of leads into the emotion of the last chorus, into what ABC and I call the pub bit. So when Alex Byard-Cooke and I were producing this, we knew that we wanted to have this section in it, like a little bit of a breakdown, and it's based on a moment in Ohio come back to Texas by Bowling for Soup, and I pictured a lot of people singing this all in the same place, and this is me with 2 acoustic guitars, roughly singing the first part of the chorus before it blends back in, and this is how it breaks down.
Mondays are for pretty girls and driving in my car.
And that's it, and there's literally, that's it. It's me singing it slightly wrong in places, just to create the impression. We even put it in a bit of a, like the reverb, we put it into like a kind of a music club space. I think that's what it's called in Logic. And then as that happens, and ABC and I were trying to work out exactly when everything was going to kick back in, and we realised that the snare hits were going to be the way that comes back in.
Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are.
More on that as well. The drum sound on this song, which ABC and I spent a lot of time on when we got into the studio, because we went and recorded all of this in a day, basically. I recorded the vocals here at home in this room, actually, but we did all of it at ABC Audio Works. And we went in and we recorded like we used to record when we recorded some of the early Otters pocket stuff, like Don't Let Them Stop You Dancing, where we go, right, what can we do in a day? Because since then, since 2012, oh, that's terrifying, I think that was 10 years ago, we would go, you know, we've become perfectionists with this kind of thing, and we wanted to just be like, look, let's not record something, park it for 3 months, do that, because here of all places, with the usual ones, another album I made with ABC, did take a long time to put together, and to be fair to us, we do live and work all over the country, and it was, you know, we couldn't be in the same place to actually make the record. But when there's 2 of us, there isn't really an excuse to not get it done. So I said, look, can we do this in a day? And, you know, we had a lunch break as well. We didn't just work all day. We literally went from like 10 till about 4, and we got most of this down. But we didn't go, oh, well, you know, maybe we can play the drums better on this day. Maybe we can play the guitars better on this day. We were like, no, let's do it. Because, you know, if the Beatles can do Please Please Me, the entire album in a day, then we can do one song, right? And that was our mentality. But we did spend a lot of time at the beginning of the day working on the drum sound. And the main inspiration behind the drum sound in this instance was Roll to Me by Delamitri. What, that really clangy snare. And you can, if I isolate the track, you can hear it as it kicks in here. And if you listen to Roll to Me, if you listen to that track, you'll hear that there is like a really ringy snare in a big space, and it's quite nice and upbeat. And the rest of the song was very much produced around what the drums were doing, and we started by playing. I plugged in the Strat, and we put a metronome on. And I played the song to ABC, and we sort of played through the sections and said what we're going to do in these places. And ABC fully made this song into the song that it is. I think there's something magic about working with him on this kind of stuff, and we bring out the best in each other. And we knew what our influences were. We knew what we were going to try and create. But that drum sound to me is just absolutely fantastic. Not only is it just great playing, but it, you know, if I play the full mix at this point when it kicks in, it does that. If you pay attention to that snare, it really does cut through in the mix.
I've been in my car. Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are, and the rest of the week is a blur as I try to forget the lady that I'm just not over yet.
But as we produced it, we tried all sorts of things. We tried I'm fairly sure that we tried a couple of halftime sections, and normally halftime is like musicians will know, is like gold. There's always an element of emotion that you can inject with halftime, particularly in songs like this. And we tried it on that bit with the and the rest of the week is a blur bit, and it didn't really work, but double time did, and that's where we arrived, and that's the conclusion we came to. But yeah, I absolutely love the drum sound on that. I think the way that we captured, there's a couple of bass drum mics, snare drum mic on each tom, and then we had a stereo room mic, which is, I knew there was something I was going to mention about this. This stereo room is really where all the energy in the whole song is. It's panned very hard left and right, so you'll hear it. Interesting phasing going on there as well. Is that an issue? We don't know. Sometimes when you listen back to mixes like this, you realise there are things like that. Maybe if I'd solved that phase issue, it would have been even bigger. However, we'll leave it for now. But that stereo room is something that we wanted to put in there to really inject that element of space into this. That's where the energy comes in. If I take that out of the mix, let's just do that now.
Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are, and the rest of the week is a blur as I try to...
You can hear there's not quite as much energy in the track, whereas if I pull it, I'll just mute it and unmute it, and you can hear. So
Tuesdays are for breaking down.
So that's with, without,
and the rest of the week is a blur
with,
as I try to forget.
You can sort of hear that's where the real energy of the track is, because there is a lot of rough and readiness to this. There's a lot of, in the plugins that we used to mix this, it was all tape and transistors and a lot of older stuff. Like we're making an older record. I'm absolutely obsessed with that. I love using tapes and tubes and stuff and things. And that's what kind of will give it its roughness. Like the vocal sound in particular, that's on the choruses, we used a bit of an old technique where it's like, if I play you... Let me find the lead vocal track. I'm not very good at doing this at the moment. So this is the lead vocal on the chorus.
Days are for pretty girls and driving in my car. Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are.
And you can hear there's a bit of grit on there, a bit of distortion, and that's tape distortion. But there's also on there, there is some, there's a slight bit of like actual, I think it's the distortion from the automatic double tracking, more on that in a second. But there's also a bit of tape delay to give it that kind of, if I play on its own.
And the rest of the week is a blur as I try to forget.
You can hear there just that kind of retro echo sound. But the thing that I wanted to do on the chorus is a straight double track, so that's what this sounds like.
Days are for pretty girls and driving in my car. Tuesdays are for breaking down and wondering where you are.
And as you can hear, there is literally 3 of me there. And it, first of all, it's great because it covers up a lot of tuning issues. It covers up most of the tuning issues, as you can probably hear there. But it also creates this sense that many people are singing it. And obviously there's different iterations of that throughout the song. There's points where it's like a gang vocal, like the pub bit and the not over yet bit. But there's also the double track in there as well. And that I knew that I wanted that in this particular sound. To me, that's something that's, it's conducive to this kind of music. But even within the double track, there's a lot of distortion and stuff going on there just to kind of lift it. The high point of the song, really, to me, is this last bit, which is basically me singing na 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 to the tune of the verse melody. Can't hit the space bar. Here we go.
That I'm just not over yet.
there's a point at the end of that where I definitely sound like a minion as well. So if I put the gang vocals on their own. And I've tried my best to hide that as much as I can, because I got to the point where I was like, I can't record the gang vocals again, but I do literally sound like a minion. I don't know how or why that happened, but there we go. And that's the magic of music sometimes, isn't it? But that section at the end, that melody, I do actually play it on the guitar as well. Kind of. And when I played it to my dad, he was like, yeah, actually, this has got quite a Celtic feel to it. And I wonder if you feel the same, actually. I can sort of hear a bit of that going on. But in that kind of music, I would normally play the melody on the instrument as well. I think I do in the second verse as well, just literally copy what the vocals are doing. And it just kind of, to me, it kind of lifts that section. There's a lot of people doing the same melody. The things that really hold this together are that allow those things to happen are the drum part and the rhythm guitar part, which, as I mentioned, they're actually the first things that ABC and I actually worked on the track. We got that down and went, right, okay, now that we've got that as a safe space, we can do what we like with this. We can use that to jump off and go, right, let's make the guitar part interesting. Let's double track the vocals. Let's put a bit where it sounds like we're in a pub. You know, there's all that kind of stuff going on. And yeah, I think those are the safe things that allow us to do that. But that is, in a nutshell, Mondays. That is everything that makes up Mondays. And I like I said before, I'm really proud of this song. And to me, it's a sign of where I'm going next. And there will be other songs that sound like this. But it also it leans on my musical past and the songs that I've written before. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed making this. Right from getting that first line in 2020 and knowing it would become something, right up to the point where the mix was finished and I was like, wow, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. But there wasn't any friction with this song. There wasn't any point where it was like, oh, this needs to do this, or why isn't this interesting enough? It's like, there's maybe like 4 chords in the whole thing, 5 maybe at a push. But it was all lent on, how can I make this emotive in the story? Which melodies make sense in the chorus? And which production techniques are going to make it sound like the songs that I love? Because that's really what I've wanted to do with this, make something that I would listen to. And if you have listened to Mondays, and if you have listened to this, thank you again for listening. I really do appreciate it. And if you enjoyed listening to this breakdown, please let me know. And if you enjoyed listening to Mondays, let me know. It means a lot when you take the time to listen to the stories behind these songs and the songs themselves. So that brings us to the end of this episode, and I really do hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, let me know. Please leave me a comment. Please send me a message. Let me know that you've listened to it. I know a few of you have messaged me about the first episode, and I really appreciate it. It's really nice to know that people are listening to this. And perhaps there's a song of mine that you've heard and you're like, I would like to hear the mixed breakdown of that. Let me know which songs you'd like to hear. Let me know if you think this is a good format. I am open to ideas with this. I love talking about music. I love talking about the music that I've made and the stories behind them. And it seems like a good place to do that. So if there's a particular story that you want to hear, let me know, and I will include it in an upcoming episode. I was going to say forthcoming, but that doesn't really make sense, does it? Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you on our next tea break.